My name is Jennifer Mitchell. I am a professor at UCSF in the departments of neurology and psychiatry and behavioral sciences. I think in general, the brain tends to be a pattern generator. It's looking for patterns. And so you learn sort of cause and effect. And the problem with something like early life trauma is that it creates a pattern that your brain then is seeking out time and again. And so it takes a lot to break out of that pattern. And childhood traumas are often considered to be rather treatment resistant, or at least harder to treat, because they happened during a period of developmental plasticity, and so then they sort of get crystallized in a very different way. They have, therefore, a great deal to do with how you see yourself, with the fiber of your being and your personality, and so you have to sort of unweave them, and that takes more than usually a light touch from, say, an antidepressant. So people who have trauma history, depression, anxiety, or PTSD, I believe the psychedelics could show a remarkable promise for. I've always thought of it as sort of a river running down a mountain. And this idea that the river has a path that it likes to follow, and that unless you dam up that river, you don't give the water opportunity to follow a new path. And so the psychedelics, they help by enabling the water to find a new direction in which to flow. So that if the way that the water was flowing previously is deleterious, you have a possibility for growth and new perspective.
My name is JJ. I've always been interested in psilocybin therapy to help with my existing anxiety, depression. I think I've been on and off medication over 21 years now. And if I can find a way to rewire my brain in a way with the psilocybin therapy, that would be very helpful in happiness level and wanting to be around longer than just tomorrow. I'm very lucky to have the life I have, and yet I still often don't feel like waking up in the morning. Like, I just think living is a whole lot harder than not living.
People that come in feel like they can change. Many people that we see in bendable therapy have been in other forms of therapy for many, many years. A lot of clients say that although they've spent a long time in therapy and taking certain medications to maybe address trauma or certain aspects of their life, they don't feel very well aligned anymore. Neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to adapt and change based on our lived experiences. In depression and anxiety, we can get kind of stuck in these thought loops, these recurring ruminations about ourselves and our lives that tend to be very negative and biased towards negativity. And what psilocybin does is it helps us to have the opportunity to create new loops that are more positive and more beneficial in our lives. Oftentimes, clients will spend an entire 4-hour session crying and shaking and trembling and really releasing. And to me, that gives a sign that you are moving out of this sort of fight or flight mode and in towards emotional release, and neuroplasticity is occurring when you're outside of that very stuck, contracted experience of life.
I think that the reason that the current treatments that we have are not fully effective is in part because they are treating the symptoms more than the cause of the disorder. So in terms of like a perception box, I think it's interesting that psychedelics can shape how you see the world, how you affect the world, how you interact with the world, and that is governed by how you perceive the world.
Hello, welcome. All right, so this is going to be our journey space for today, and we'll mostly be here. I think most people think that it will be this very outward journey where they'll see fairies and rainbows and sort of have this like stereotypical trip. Beautiful. So once we're feeling ready, we'll have Sam bring in the mushrooms and we'll make your tea and we'll get going.
Okay, cool.
All right. But really what it does is it helps you to get in tune with yourself. And in some ways that is becoming a truer version of yourself. And we also often say that it can be a process of unbecoming and shedding layers of things that are not yours, that don't belong to you, that have been given to you by society, by your family, by yourself over time. It can be very much shedding layers and becoming more yourself, more in tune with yourself, more connected with yourself.
Yeah, just wanted to see where you are right now. Everyone lands at really different paces.
Very happy, very relaxed.
Good, perfect.
There were moments where where the neuroplasticity kind of like came into my consciousness.
I think that some people after taking a psychedelic will claim that they are forever changed, and perhaps on some level they're actually forever unchanged, and they're going back to a key component of their personality that was expressed before they ever experienced that trauma or that stressor in development. So instead of just focusing on yourself, you sort of see how you are a component of a broader community, of a broader environment, culture, planet, and that perspective taking allows you to sort of keep grounded and keep balanced in a way that you couldn't before because you didn't allow yourself that perspective.
Compassion really radically shifts everything for clients. I think with depression and anxiety, especially if it is affecting your ability to move through life in the way that you want to, self-judgment can make things 10 times harder.
After you take the medicine, you have a series of what we call integration sessions, and these are sessions, typically psychotherapy sessions, in which you can further unpack whatever you experienced during the dosing session.
What was the experience like for you?
Anytime I thought about the neuroplasticity, I would tend to see more individual lights instead of blocks of lights. Like it was like they were lines going out into different places, and I was just cheering them on.
Yeah, I love that. And really the idea of this is to carry forward all the insights and everything you gained from yesterday into the future so you can continue to really cultivate that.
Neuroplasticity is not just an eccentric thing that has to do with administration of psychedelics. You can induce neuroplasticity on your own. We often talk about other things that they could do out in their community, within their family environment, within their working environment that allows them to explore and embrace new perspectives, new ways of thinking, new groups of people. You always have potential to induce neuroplasticity, and this is not just something that happens during development. Even though it's big in development, this is something that you should be considering throughout the journey of life.
The psilocybin experience and the insights that you gain give you seeds to plant, and it's through your action and your practice and your continual revisiting of those insights that helps those plants to grow and flourish.
In this past month and a half, I have been overall happier, so that helps me want to wake up. I'm curious to see if that gets stronger. I love that it's not a one and done kind of day.
The journey is just the beginning, and the integration process and the months and years moving forward, things will continue to unfold for JJ. And I think that the gratitude and appreciation that she really deeply felt in this experience will continue to open up new pathways for her, and it's going to open up a whole new world. That's what I feel for her.
When I woke up later and I saw that bird, I was like, oh,
My bird joy.
my bird joy.
Yeah. For me, it's nothing short of miraculous. It's really fascinating to see people, especially who have been suffering from depression, anxiety for their entire lives, essentially, to leave this space feeling a renewed sense of hope